Good morning and welcome. I've just been counted in by my daughter. She was just counting down 10 to 1 to make sure I remembered to start on time. Good morning and welcome to our 5th Maths with Miss live in London. I can see already that we have some new people joining us. I'm going to do a shout out in just one moment. My able assistant here has already given me a list of people I need to give a shout out to. But before we start, just for those of you who are new, I just want to go through a couple of things very quickly. This is going to be live at 10 o'clock every morning. What do you need? You need a pen, you need a pencil or a second pen in a different colour for marking. If you've got a notebook like this, absolutely brilliant, particularly if you've got your maths book from school, because it might have squared paper in it. That helps you set out all your work nice and neatly. A ruler, if you've got one, again, just helps with setting it out. But you don't need a calculator. We're not going to be using a calculator today. We're just going to be using our brain, our fabulous brain, the most important thing that we have. Okay, so make sure it's switched on. I just need it for half an hour every day, 10 o'clock in the morning, your focus, so that we can have a good time practicing a little bit of maths and maybe learning a few little things too, maybe a few tricks of the trade. We like doing those ones where we can challenge our parents afterwards. Okay, I think we need to get started. Again, if you've not joined me before, oops, you will see, you've probably seen this. If you have seen me before, don't worry about drawing it out now, but if you can draw out a 1 to 100 grid in your book, then as we go through the questions, it's a little bit like bingo. We get to tick off the numbers as we go. At the moment, we have 40 numbers completed, I believe. So after today, we'll have 50 out of 100 numbers. I think some of you might know what that is as a percentage or what that is as a fraction. Okay, if you do know, can you pop it in the live chat for me, please? Okay, 50 out of 100. What is it as a percentage or what is it as a fraction? Okay, I think we need to get started. I'm just going to put up the answers for yesterday's questions. Oh, I've got 50% from Extreme Everything. Hello, Lucas. Well done to you. 50%. Tell me what it is as a fraction. So just before we go through the answers to yesterday's review questions, here are my shout outs. I have a shout out for Jagger, for Ibrahim, for Janeth, for Aliha. Welcome to all of you. Chloe and Mr. Newbie Pants, I think you have my favourite name. And to Betty, I hope I haven't missed anyone, but Flower Poppy has told me that it's 0.5 as a decimal, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and something a little bit unpronounceable, something Queen, 50% or a half. Absolutely brilliant. Keep those answers flying in. But firstly, let's have a look at yesterday's answers. I'm just going to read those out quickly. So we have, let's make sure you can see all of those. We have the answer to question 1, the prime numbers between 10 and 30. Remember, a prime number only has exactly 2 factors. It is divisible by 1 and itself. And we reminded ourselves yesterday that 1 is not a prime factor. So we have 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and 29. So apart from 2, all our prime numbers are odd numbers. And you'll notice I've missed some. I've missed 21 and I've missed 25 and 27 because those are not prime numbers because they have more than 2 factors. Question 2, what is the square of 9? Well, the square of 9 is 9 multiplied by 9. That gives me 81. Divided by the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 81 divided by 3 gives us 27. We did a similar one to that on the board. Which of the following has the greatest value? 50% of £50 is £25, 40% of £60 is 24, and 30% of £70 is 21. So if you're negotiating with your parents, you want to go for A. That's going to give you the most money, £25. Question 4, the square root of 200 falls between which 2 whole numbers? It falls between 14, because 14 multiplied by 14 gives us 196, and 15. 15 multiplied by 15 gives us 225. Finally, find the biggest 3-digit number that is a multiple of 5 and contains the numbers 5 and 8. The answer to that is 985. We are now going to get started with part 1. You're going to get 30 questions in total. Here are your first 10. You're going to have approximately 2 minutes per sheet of 10 questions. Oops. Okay, let's check you can see that. Let's go. And don't forget that question 10 is a parents v kids challenge. See if you can beat your parents. Thirty seconds remaining. Remember, you do not have to do them in that order. You can pick the ones that you find the easiest to do first. Okay, part 2 coming up. 30 seconds left. Again, try and focus on the questions that you think are the easiest. See if you can beat your parents in question 10. Okay, here we go, part 3. Thirty seconds to go. Okay, I'm going to stop you there and we're going to go through some of the answers. If you've got a different colour pen, grab it now. And I didn't say this at the start, I should have reminded you, if you put numbers down the left-hand side, if you've got a margin even better, numbers 1 to 10, and you write part 1, it's going to make it much, much easier when you're marking. Okay, so part 1, question 1. The answer is 25. Question 2, 100. Question 3 is 9. Question 4 is 32. Question 5 is 76. Question 6 is 49. Question 7 is 5. Question 8 is 8. Question 9 is 40. And question 10, let's see if you managed to beat your parents on this one, is 984. Let's move on to part 2. Question 1. The answer is 22. Question 2 is 4. Question 3. 15.057. That's a tricky one, but we did talk about strategies for that back in the first lesson last week. Question 4 is 10. Question 5 is 42. Question 6 is 1. Question 7, the prime factors of 150. We did those yesterday, but I'm going to go through them again today, are 2, 3, 5, and 5. Question 8 is 24. Question 9 is 8. And question 10, your challenge against your parents. The square root of 180 falls between 13 and 14. Part 3, your last 10 questions. Try and count up your scores as we go. When we have finished marking part 3, if you could pop your scores out of 30 in the chat, that would be fantastic. So question 1 is 2,973. For question 1, you could do 3 lots of 1,000 and then subtract 3 lots of 9. Maybe that might be easier. Question 2 is 18. Question 3 is 10. Question 4 is 45 over 100. But remember, we can simplify that to 19 over 20. Question 5 is 30.48. Question 6 is 8. Question 7 is 9. Question 8 is 5. Question 9 is 3. And finally, that challenge question, the square root of 625 is 25. Right, okay, so total up your scores. Whilst you're doing that, some of you will be familiar with this board. Okay, we need to tick off all the ones that we have done. If you have had a chance, to put your grid in your book, you'll be able to tick them off. If not, don't worry, because you can do that later. Okay, so we're going to go through the numbers. 25, 100. I can't see 9, 32, excellent, 32. 76, excellent, that's another new one, 76. 49, brilliant, we're getting loads of new ones today. 49. 5 we've done, 8 we've done, 40, yep, and 984. Okay, part 2. Oh, that's part 3. 1 second, Rose. Part 2. 22. Got that. 4. Go on, read them out. 15. Yep, got that. 10. We've got 42. Brilliant. New one. 1, 2, 3, 5. We've got all of those.
Oh, what's this one?
Don't worry. 24 is done. 8 is done. 13 and 14. Brilliant. 2 more.
2,973.
Yeah, that's not on my board. Doesn't get mine. 18 is done. 10 is done. 45 is done. 19 is not done. Brilliant. Let's
20.
have 19.
What about 20? Does 20 count?
No. 30 is done. 8, 9, 5, 3 are all done. And 25 is done. Brilliant. Okay. Fantastic. So as I say, if you have not had a chance to create your 10 by 10 grid yet, don't worry. You can do it ready for the next lessons. Oh my goodness, extreme everything got 100%, 30 out of 30. What an amazing result. Jagger got 12 out of 30, which is absolutely brilliant because she is in year 4. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Janeth got 29 out of 30, brilliant. Flower Poppy got 19 out of 30, absolutely fantastic. I'm reckoning that's over 60%. Oh my goodness. And I think I've already shouted you out, Extreme Everything, with your 30 out of 30. And you might be able to hear the round of applause in the background. That is coming from my daughter. And Betty got 12 and Aaliyah got 25. Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's amazing. Right. Let's get the whiteboard out and let's do a little bit of work. So I said that I was going to go through those prime factors again. So I'm going to do that quickly. And I'm going to choose the number 150, which was question 7 on part 2. So the prime factors of 150. And what I described yesterday was the fact that it's like an upside down tree. and we create branches to that tree, and we keep going with our branches until we get to a prime number, and then we stop.
Mummy, you can say it's a weeping willow.
Okay, so I need two numbers that multiply together to give me 150. I could do 75 and 2, but I think I'm going to make it a little bit easier. When I look at that, I see 15 multiplied by 10. Okay, so I can keep going because neither of those are prime numbers. What two numbers can I multiply together to get 15? 3 and 5. Now, they're both prime numbers, so I can stop. I put a circle around the numbers and I stop. No more branches on my tree. Okay, and then I've got 2 multiplied by 5. Again, these are both prime numbers. Remember, number 2 is the only prime number that is an even number. So I can stop. So these are my prime numbers. And if this was a test, then you wouldn't come across this possibly even until year 7. You might look at it in year 6. Okay. If we wanted to check, we would say 150 equals 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5. And we can check that. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. 6 multiplied by 5 is 30. 30 multiplied by 5 is 150. Brilliant. We know we've got the right answer. And then, fast forwarding to years 7, years 8, years 9, you would be asked to put that in something called index form. And when you put it in index form, where you've got two numbers the same, you write it with that power sign. In this case, 5 to the power 2, which we would know of as 5 squared. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a recap of what we did with prime factors yesterday. Now I want to spend a bit of time because we've had a few questions where you've had to make the biggest number possible, the biggest 3-digit number possible. So I want to take a look at that. So the first one, let's have a look. The first one, this is going all the way back to Friday. So you might not have done the question, but that's fine. We'll look at it together. The first one was a 3-digit number. So we want a 3-digit number that's a multiple of 2. So a multiple of 2. So it's in the 2 times table, but it's a massive number. It's 3 digits long. And it contains the numbers 2 and 8. So it contains 2 and 8. So these 3 boxes are for my 3 numbers. Okay? Now remember, this is my hundreds column. I want the biggest possible number to go in there. Okay, so the biggest possible number is going to be 9. So I'm going to put 9 in here. And I want the biggest number possible. So I've now got a choice of 2 or 8. Now, it doesn't matter which way around I put those. I would still have a multiple of 2. I would still have an even number. But I want the biggest even number I can find. So I'm going to write 9, 8, 2. Okay? Gets a little bit more tricky. The next one, question 5 from yesterday, was a 3-digit number, but this time we wanted a multiple of 5, and it had to contain the numbers 5 and 8. So some of you will have done this yesterday, but let's look at it now. I'll give you a moment to think about it. So it's a multiple of 5. So to be a multiple of 5, it has to end in 5 or 0. Okay? Well, 5 is bigger than 0. So let's put our 5 here. So we've used our 5. Again, we want the biggest number possible here. So I'm going to put a 9 here. That leaves me with my 8, which we can pop in here. 985 is the largest 3-digit number that we can get that is a multiple of 5 using the numbers 5 and 8. I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do the one that was set today. It was part 1. It was question 10. It was that parent versus kids challenge. But this time, it's a multiple of 3. And it needs to contain the numbers 9 and 4. Now this is where we need a little bit of a maths trick, a multiple of 3. Okay, so some of you may know this, but with a multiple of 3, you can add the digits together. And when you add those digits together, if the sum of those 3 digits is a multiple of 3, then your number is also a multiple of 3. So it's a really nice little trick to use. So hold on, let me make sure. So it's got to contain the 9 and it's got to contain the 4. So I'm going to put my 9 here. Again, that will give me my biggest number if I can make it work. Okay. And I want a big number here, don't I? If I can find one. So I'm going to put my 4 here. And let's see now if we can find another number that means that this number is a multiple of 3. Remember, if we sum our digits, we add our digits together. So 9, we don't know what that is yet. 9 plus something plus 4. So we've got 9 and we're adding 4. That gives us 13. Well, 13 isn't in the 3 times table. So it can't be 0. Let's think. What number comes? Well, 15 is in the 3 times table. So we could add 2 to get 15. 9, 2, 4. Well, that works. That's a 3-digit number that's a multiple of 3 that uses 9 and 4. But is it the biggest one? Hold on a minute. If we add another 3, so we know it's still in the 3 times table, we're going to get 18. That means that would become 5. Maybe we could add 3 again, which gives us 21. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. So this number here would be 8 because we've added 2 plus 3 plus 3. That all adds together to give us plus 8. So 9 plus 8 is 17. 17 plus 4 gives us 21. 21 is in the 3 times table. Fantastic. We've found the biggest possible number that we can find that's in the 3 times table. Okay, so over to you for your review exercise for today. And whilst you're writing those questions down, remember you can pause it to get the numbers, to get the questions in a moment. I'm going to just do our final shout outs of the day. Okay, and just whilst you're finishing off with those, my final shout outs of the day go to Jagger, to Janeth, to Flower Poppy, to Aliha, and some of these names keep popping up every day, so I'm getting excited that you keep coming back for more. To Rose E, to Betty, to Oscar, to Extreme Everything, and thank you for your kind comments. And finally to Ava, who I believe will be watching this on Catch Up later. Okay, if you haven't got those all down, then please feel free to pause the screen. And just as a final reminder, here is the 10 by 10 grid. That's all from me. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.